Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft the Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we took on the Winnipeg Jets with Sam Seadoo, our former player, and unfortunately we lost the series. I don't remember how many games it was because it's been a while since I recorded that episode, but we lost in the second round again, and it kind of sucks because our team is potentially going to lose more players this offseason because there is a lot of UFAs this upcoming year. But I'm really hoping that we could keep most of the team together with losing like minimal players. Like I think we might lose Kapitanov just because of his demanding price. But Gene Thornton is somebody that I definitely want to keep around. I'd like to try and keep Chad Burns because if we let go of him, then we don't really have a good second line center. Also, Scuderi's up. He's an RFA though at least. Yip might end up leaving, which kind of sucks if that is the case. But our defensive core should still simulate pretty decently even if we lose him. We do have Jacobs on the uprise, which is good because that is at least one prospect that's gotten some development, which a lot of the ones in the minors actually haven't gotten rate development, which really kind of sucks. For example, Volchenkov, who I was trying to look at a few episodes back, he's a 71 at 24, and this guy was a former first-round pick, I believe. Yeah, he was an 18th overall pick, and he hasn't made it yet, so I might have to give him an opportunity on like a bottom six role at some point. Just because he does actually have some okay attributes. It's just he's never been given a chance to play in the NHL, which is really unfortunate. But anyways, that is that. And before we get into the offseason, I do have one comment to go over, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, sucks to get eliminated again. Only thing you can really do is just get your key pieces re-signed and try again, which is basically what we have to try and do. And then also try and integrate some of our youth into our roster via the draft class and all that type of thing, because basically I think our main problem right now is depth scoring. Like if we look at the draft board, you can see that basically our forward depth is not that great. We have a C ranking, but we're strong on top 6, which is good, strong on top 9, but then you get into like the bottom 4, or the bottom line in general, you got weakness, and then we don't have the greatest depth forwards, and we don't have a lot of forward prospects at all, which is not great. Defensively, though, on the other hand, we're strong everywhere. And goalie right now wise, we're strong everywhere. Now, we might end up losing Benson because he is a starting goalie and he is a UFA. I really hope we don't, but that might end up being the case, which would really suck. But at least goalie is in the system and he is medium elite, I'm pretty sure, so should be okay with that front. But otherwise, we definitely need to draft more forwards in, and hopefully we can get some guys that develop quite well to get into our roster to replace some of these guys like Afenisenkov and Lucic and Grigorenko, those type of options. So anyways, let's get into this draft class. I don't remember anything about the draft at all, but we're still going to just get right into it. So let's take a look at this draft class to see what we can get around our spot, which I don't know where we're drafting. It's probably like 25th or something maybe. Since you got to the second round, we are drafting at number 28. Damn, that's way too late. I kind of hope we miss the playoffs at least one of these years, so that way we could get a better pick or something like that for the future, because we definitely need some more elite players and whatnot. Sucks that we didn't get first overall this year, because obviously there's a franchise player, but at least we made the playoffs, and I'm still really happy with some of these players on the team, like especially Jaskalainen, because he's always like point per game in the playoffs, it seems like, or over point per game. So we're at 28, which means, yeah, this draft class might not be that great. We might be able to get another top 9 forward that's 3 years out, which kind of sucks, because we don't have a whole lot of time to win a Stanley Cup. If this guy could slide, that would be nice, because he's a top 6 forward prospect that's 2 years out, but I really doubt he will slide. What else we got here? We do not need defensive prospects. I would like to get forwards if I can. More top 9s. Oh, there's a guaranteed top 6 that I pinned. I forgot about that. So we're probably going to end up just going with like him, even though he's not supposed to go till later. Or we might go with Petrovicki, just because we want to go with the guys with the best potential as possible and the guys that would be fastest to getting to the NHL too. So there is that, and let's get into the top 5 picks, and then we'll get to our pick. So the first overall pick, franchise 82 overall power forward, Lavin, going to the Canucks. Looks like a pretty good player, similar to like a Brady Tkachuk, I guess you could say, with the big tipper, the unstoppable force, that type of thing. Very interesting. The Carolina Hurricanes at number 2 are going to take Hagelin, who is a 79 playmaker. Listed as depth right now, though. Buffalo at number 3 is going to take Giuliano, 79 playmaker as well. Very similar to Hagelin. And then, who else is it? Toronto at number 4 is going to take a defensive defenseman, 77 overall, Dale Hillis, who doesn't have a zone ability, but he still looks like a good old-school defenseman with some hitting and whatnot. And the top 5 pick is going to go to Sedlak in Washington. He's a two-way forward. Interesting. So there's your top 5. Not the strongest top 5. I mean, the franchise player is really good, but these guys are all not even 80 overall yet, so this might be a little bit of a weak draft class in that sense. Let's send up to our pick at number 28 here and see what we could grab here. So there is that top 9 I was just looking at. There's all these guys that the scouts are recommending us, but I feel like they're all probably top 9 as well. And there's no guarantee that they're top 6 or top 4 defensemen, so I think we're just going to bypass them even though the scouts are recommending it to us. And we'll probably either go with Courtnall, who has a good amount of stats. How about Petrovicki? Petrovicki is a bit better because he's got better shooting. He's got the same puck skills and senses, and then he's pretty much the same in everything else. So I think we got to go with Phil Petrovicki here, who's a right winger and probably looking like a two-way forward. But since he's like Theo Fleury, I'd say he's probably a sniper, I would assume. He's got a small size to him as well, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think we're going to go with Philip Petrovicki here. Like I said, we need forward prospects, and he's probably the best of the bunch. And he's a 65 sniper. That's pretty solid. Definitely gives us a good prospect to build around, but not the greatest individual attributes, so we hope he can get some good growth. But him being only 17 as well, we do have time for him to develop, hopefully, into being somebody at least on our third line in a few years. Let's send to our next pick here and see what we can get in the second round. See if we could find any steals. Or are we not going to know much about this draft class? I did pin this potential low elite, but there's no guarantee he is. He does have no weakness, so that might be the best option. Because even players with no weakness might be good because maybe they get into the lineup and maybe they do actually pretty solid. Any low elite still first before. We don't need another goalie prospect at least yet. There is a low elite offensive defenseman I pinned. I forgot about this guy. I probably will take him in the 7th round if I can. Yeah, I'll probably take him in the 7th round. Let me go back for a second so I could get that thing reorganized. But yeah, I think we're going to go with D. Salvatore. Just because he could be a low elite, and since he has no weakness, maybe that helps us out. And he also could play center too, so that's probably pretty good. So, welcome aboard, Skylar, from the, who was it, from the Dogs? I don't remember what the team is called. Oh, Sault Ste. Marie. The heck. 63 low top 6 ain't too bad. It's better than, I'd say, getting a medium top 9, probably. He does have some okay attributes, so maybe he develops, maybe he doesn't. But that is our second rounder. On to our third round pick now. We could get another goalie prospect, but he's 19. He does have decent attributes, and he's only 3 years out at 19. So I think I might end up taking him because he gives us another goalie prospect in case we lose Benson this offseason. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Vlasic here. Welcome aboard, Dominic Vlasic. He is a 65 medium fringe starter, so not the highest overall. Probably won't develop too much, but he could still end up being maybe like a Park kind of idea where he's like an 80 overall. That wouldn't be too bad. Next pick in the 4th round. It looks like we're getting 7th defenseman going in this draft already. So yeah, this is definitely a really bad draft class. We could go with a defenseman, but I would prefer going with a forward. So we might just go with another guy with the last name Volchenkov, since he has no weakness. So yeah, let's pick Boris Volchenkov and see how good he is. He is a bottom 6. Not great, but I mean, if he even cracks the lineup at like a 76 overall, that could help out the team in the future. Next pick in the 5th round. But yeah, this is a really weak draft class, it looks like. Noah Fast, might go with him. He's 20 years old though, so that's not great. So I might go with one of the recommended, which there's Vasilyev, who has no weakness. And then there's Lindstrom, who we don't know anything about. So I think I'm going to go with Igor Vasilyev, see how good he is. And he's also bottom 6, but I mean, bottom 6 forwards, even if they get to a 76, might be okay. This guy's a sniper, but he's got really good defensive awareness and no offensive awareness, so that's a little bit weird. Our 6th round pick next, and then we have our 7th rounder, which hopefully we could get that defenseman with. We will probably take just another random forward, even though they're just bottom 6s and stuff like that. 5 years out. Yeah, I don't really know what to go with here. Let's just go with a random guy. So I think we're just going to throw it out at Alex O'Reilly. Why not? And he is also bottom 6. Damn, a lot of bottom 6s going in this draft. But I mean, if they end up cracking the lineup at least as a 76, I'll be happy. And our final pick of the draft, damn, Tanabe, we missed out on this guy. Lowly 70 overall at 19. That's pretty damn good for a 7th round pick to be that high of an overall. But at least we're getting our guaranteed low elite offensive defenseman here. 5 years out, he's 18. So he's probably going to be a really low overall. But if he develops well, he could be somebody that we have on our blue line in the future. So welcome aboard, Festerini. He's a 46 overall. My God. At least he's got the low elite potential. But yeah, being a 46 overall out of the draft is not great, but hopefully he develops, because he might end up being one of those ones that only get to like a 78, 79, but if he gets to like an 80 plus, that would definitely be a W, I'd say. So there's our draft. I wouldn't say it was a terrible draft for us. We got a lot of bottom 6 forwards and a top 6 forward prospect, also that low elite defenseman, so we addressed some of our needs. Now let's get into the re-sign stage, which is going to be the toughest part of this episode. We do got some scouts first to sign, though. But yeah, this is definitely going to be the toughest part, because Gene Thornton is going to take up a lot of money. But he's very important to keep around because he is such a good player to have with Jaskalainen. So we have to keep him around. Like I said, Kapitanov is more than likely on his way out. And we might end up losing Benson too, which would really suck. But that might be the case. And then we could just run with 2 really bad goalies. If we miss the playoff for 1 year, I don't think it's the end of the world. But I'd still like to make the playoffs at some stages, because you never know once you get in there. So let's get into the re-sign stage, see who we got to re-sign. We got $56 million in cap space, which is more than I expected. But let's start off with Gene Thornton, because he's the big one. There's a bit of a difference between that. Does he want an extension? No, he doesn't, so he might have to give up more money. I'll try and give him what he wants for 4 years, see if he'll accept that, because he's definitely worth it. We're going to just automatically qualify all our RFAs, so let's do that first, just because that's normally what I always do in this type of mode anyways, until these guys have like 1 year left or whatever, and then we have to give them bigger contracts, but want to drag out the RFA status as long as possible, just because at least it keeps them within our rights unless we let them go to compensation. So qualify all the AHL RFAs as well, and that is good. Goalie-wise, we'll qualify Galvin. I almost said Garland for some reason. And then we get into UFAs. So Thornton is an important one. We already just gave him a contract. Like I said, I don't think Kapitanov is going to come back. He wants $13 million for 7 years, which isn't terrible, but he doesn't produce really that well. Like, his production's kind of bounced around. I don't say he's worth the money. He's kind of similar to Sam Seidu, a bit better than Sam Seidu, though. Burns, what do you want? That's not terrible, but it's a second-line center, 3 years at $11 million. I might be willing to give him that, to be honest, because we do have the cap space, I'd say, probably, if a lot of these guys down here don't want a lot. We might end up signing some of these guys as well, depending on their stats. Roloff doesn't look great, so I'll let him go. We are definitely going to sign Wharton since he's got top 6 potential and he was a first rounder. Definitely going to also sign Griffin for the AHL defensive core. And do I sign these two? I'd say maybe, because Pietrangelo looks okay, so let's sign them up as well. Just give ourselves the best opportunity as possible down there. And then I guess we'll try and re-sign some of these guys, but they all want one-way deals. So we might end up losing some of these AHL guys just because they're trying to get over $1 million, which I still don't know why they're doing that. Zador might be okay to bring back for 1 year at 1.8. But first, I want to make sure Thornton is signed. And then I also want to see if I could get Patan and stuff back for a decent price. 1 year at 3.5 would be okay. We could try and get him back 1 year at 3.6. And then Yip is also kind of important. Yip wants $7 million though, so that's a little bit pricey. And since Yip does not want an extension, he's probably going to want more than that. So I wouldn't mind keeping him around, but I don't really know if we need to bring him back, especially on that price level. Because if we look at our defensive core right now, we'll still have Sedin, Teratukin, Hedman, McGrattan's going to eventually want more money. And then we could play Ronning, Schutz. Umberger's on the way up as well. I feel like Yip's time here should be done probably at the asking price he's wanting. And then we could use that to re-sign instead Benson. Yeah, I think I'm not going to re-sign Yip just yet. I'm going to prioritize Benson over him just because we already got a lot of good defenders back there. We need to make sure we have ourselves a good goalie first. So I'll prioritize that. Let me go back to all expiring, or actually to UFA first. So, yeah, there's that. Also, Benson, Burns matters more than Yip, I'd say. Pasquale, what do you want? 3.2. That's a bit expensive, but you've been here since, like, the beginning, I'm pretty sure, almost. So I would like to try and keep you around. Because, yeah, we've had you since what year? Yeah, literally since, like, year number 3, I think that is. So I'd like to try and keep him around. Ronning's wanting 2.4, so yeah, we might have to let some of these guys like Ronning and Schutz and whatnot go for now, but they might eventually come back in free agency if they're still there at the start of the season. Yeah, I think all these guys that are 77 and whatnot, I'm going to let go of for now, but I might bring them back at the start of the season just because we'll need the depth and whatnot if they're still there in free agency. Other than that, though, I do want to bring back Pasquale for sure, I think. Even if he's asking for $3 million. He's just a very important piece to this roster just because he's been here since a long time ago. So 1 year at $3 million, see if he'll accept that. He might not. We might have to give him a little bit more. Like I said, Yip is not really that important to bring back just because of how strong the defensive core is still without him. And then Burns is definitely important, though. So I could do 3 years at 11. If we go up to 8 years, his asking price comes down. That is interesting. The question is, do I give him an 8-year deal at that type of price? It might be an overpayment, but at least we get him down for a cheaper cost, maybe. He's not really a huge point producer, but he's decently at it. He's more of a passer. But he is a very good defensive forward. He's a plus 159 with us. And in his face-off numbers, I'm pretty sure are really good as well. So I might be willing to give him a decently long extension. The question is it an overpayment at this stage? With who we have to re-sign in like the future. Like who's up for renewal next offseason? Looks like Hedman, Forster. It does kind of put us in a bad spot in terms of our defensive core, so I shouldn't probably re-sign him too long term. Even though that wouldn't be a bad option. I think I'm willing to give him the 3 years though. 3 years, let's give you exactly what you want as well. Just for now, just to see if you'll actually accept that. And then we're going to go to goalies. This is where it's going to get a little interesting. We'll sign Cousins for the AHL because why not? Sweat, 76. I will still try and keep Sweat around for the AHL. Even if he wants $1 million. Park. Park's relatively cheap as well. We'll keep him around as well. It's a 2-year deal just in case we need him as a starter. And then Benson wants 8.3. I'm going to just give him a 1-year deal until he drops his asking price because he's wanting for too much right now. So yeah, let's just do 1 year at 8.3. See if they'll accept that. And yeah, let's advance it in, see if we get all these guys back that I just gave contracts to. The RFAs, hopefully we can get their asking prices down by quite a bit. Okay, let's go through this fast. And did we get any rejections in there? Thornton accepted. Also, Burns accepted right away, which is really good. But we only have 19 million in cap space now. Park is still rejecting. And we still have all our RFAs. So, yeah, Kapitanov's definitely gone. Yip is definitely gone. And then all these guys I probably will try and re-sign if they're there at the start of the season or something like that. And then, yeah, Park might be gone just because of the cap situation. Yeah, I think I'm going to let Park go because I believe he'll go back to free agency again and might stay there till the start of the season just like he did last year. And if that is the case, we could probably get him back for cheaper at the start of the season. So I am going to let him walk for now as well. And then RFA-wise, all these guys are qualified, so that's all good. Yeah, that's all good. Let me actually go to the unsigned for a second. Okay. So that is good, I think. Let me just write down all these player names just so I remember them for free agency purposes. Okay, so I wrote down all those names, so that way if those guys appear in free agency at the beginning of the year, some of them we could potentially bring in as depth options if they're not wanting too much money. So there is our team signed up. Let's sim to free agency. Sucks to let guys like Kapitanov and Yip go, but I think you guys could kind of understand where I'm coming from with like Yip and whatnot, because our defensive core is going to be strong regardless if we have a guy that's an 81 overall, I'd say. It just comes down to if the loss of Kapitanov is going to be big for our forward core or not. But, I mean, Scuderi seems to be doing decently. I'm pretty sure it's Scuderi. Yeah, I think it's Scuderi that does good with the ice time. So if he gets a chance on that top line, maybe he'll start to produce at a good level. And then we could give him a good extension and whatnot. Okay, so that is that. Let me take a look at a curiosity if Kapitanov is generating any interest in free agency already. He does have a team interested in him. Interesting. Who's that team? That's Winnipeg that wants him. Of course Winnipeg wants him because they literally just brought Sam Seidu in a few years ago at a very bad price. So let's begin to sim up to next season. I don't think we need a coach, right? Or did we lose a coach? We lost... No, we did not lose a coach. Okay. Oh, no, we do need an associate coach, so we should probably hire one of those. And then we'll begin our sim up to next season and see if there's anybody available, get our lines situated and all that. So let's see, AHL associate or NHL associate coach, anybody with a good scheme fit right now. There's a couple of 61s. Chris Tanf, he was with us last season actually. Don't know why he didn't get re-signed. Or was he with us last season? Yeah, he was. Or actually, we let him go a few years ago. Or was your associate coach? I don't remember. But yeah, we should bring back him as an associate coach. See if he'll come back to our organization because we need an associate coach at least. So there is that. And yeah, let's continue. Yeah, let's simulate. See what happens. See if any of those guys that I let go of are still there at the start of next season. Because yeah, that would be great if that's the case. I wanted to bring back Yip, but I think our defensive core will be fine without him. Tanf is back as an associate coach with the organization, which is good because he helped us through like our rebuilding stages and whatnot. Some of our RFAs are already accepting, which is great news. I might want to give a chance to Goddard to play in the NHL team. Let me go back to this and see if we got any RFAs still. But I might want to give Goddard an opportunity in the NHL because he has X factors, so he might be a good defenseman to play on our top 6 pairings. He's a 76, or we use Umberger. Let's see, though. Any RFAs still holding out? Let's see. Goalies, Galvin's still holding out. And, yes, Scuderi's still holding out. Yeah, we'll let them still hold out for a bit longer. They're going to eventually drop their price a little bit more. Doesn't matter about re-signing them in July. We could re-sign them in August or in September even. Let's go to the first. See if anybody else is going to accept. Teal does. Galvin accepts. Just waiting on the 2 NHLers in Scuderi and Jacobs. Yeah, let's go and sign him now. Might as well. And then, yeah, hopefully there's still guys available in free agency that used to play for us. Because that's where it's going to be the difference in making the playoffs and not. Like I said, if we don't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world, though. So, Scuderi... Yeah, see, if I go multiple years, he wants $6 million, but he is technically our top lane. Like, he's going to be our first line right winger this year. Because we do not have a whole lot of right wingers. So I might actually want to give him a multi-year deal. And then Jacobs, what are you wanting right now? We'll just give you what you want for 1 year. But I wouldn't mind re-signing Scuderi. but I don't want to make his asking price too bad. So yeah, actually he's a UFA at the end of the year. Let's do a 3-year deal, and I'm gonna try and talk him to like 5 million. I think that's a good price, at least to start. Let's try 5.25 for 3 years, because we definitely need him around on this team, and I don't want to end up losing him to free agency next offseason, because we might have to prioritize somebody else. But yeah, let's continue to sim up to next season, see if we get him back. Scuderi has rejected. We'll try and give him a little bit more, but let's do that right now, since it's been another 11 days or whatever it says. View contracts. But yeah, hopefully we find some players that used to play with us in free agency. What about 3 years at 6? I don't think that's a terrible offer, because the way he produces, he's not too bad of a player. So we'll try 3 years at 6. That way he could play in our top 6 and make only $6 million until we get somebody else that could take over his spot. Because right now Scuderi is that replacement on that top line. So let's continue to simulate. He should be accepting, I would assume. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Okay. So we're kind of close to the start of the season. Let's see what is available free agent wise. See if there's any former players still, and we'll sign them up if there is. So let's start off with goalie wise and sort this by overall and see. Oh, look who's there. Look who's there, but he needs to drop his asking price a little bit. But the legend Stefan Soderstrom, the legend, he got to a cup finals with us. We definitely need to bring him back if he's still there at the start of the season. There's also Johansson. Was that one of our guys? No, that's a different guy. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit longer on free agents, but if Stefan Soderstrom's still there at the start of the year, maybe bring him as the backup behind Benson. That'd be really nice. Let's go to the 17th, because the preseason doesn't start till the 20-something, I believe. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. Now that it's popped up, we'll stop this, and then we will sign up some players, get our lines adjusted and whatnot once we sign some free agents. So let's see what we got here for former players. Is Soderstrom still there? He is. 1 year, $3 million still is a bit expensive, but I do still really like him. He seems to assimilate decently with a good team in front of him, so we will offer him a contract, and he will be our goalie as the backup in replacement for Park, I think. Let's just do 1 year, 2.9. He should accept. He'll definitely want to come back to this organization anyways. We don't really need to sign any more goalies, even if they're former players. Defensively, any former players that I recognize? Christopher Connor. Is this guy named Bob Orr or something? Bryson Orr. Damn, that would have been funny. Any former players? Schutz is still there. We'll give him what he wants. That's good to see that he's still there. Anybody else? Looks like we might have lost some of our former defenders, because some of them might have actually got signed out. Finisenkov's still there. We'll sign him up. Anybody else in terms of defense? Doesn't seem to be a whole lot in terms of defense, which is kind of a surprise. So some of those guys like Ladd might have got signed by other teams. Wasn't expecting that. Right wing wise, any former right wingers that we drafted? Please give me somebody just for like bottom 6 or depth wise, because their offense is probably going to be trash. Anybody on right wing? Does not seem to be really anything there. Oh, Bengtsson is though, right? Yep, Bengtsson is, so we'll re-sign him, I guess, just because he might be an NHL player at this rate. And that's as low as we're going to go for overall wise. Let's go to the left wing. Is this guy named Bernie Sanders? Brody. Damn. That'd have been funny. What else we got here? Any other former players? Lucic is still there. That's good. Just got to make sure that's the right one. Yep. Okay. We'll sign him up. He wants a two-way deal like he should have wanted in the beginning. Anybody else on left wing? Sidor is still there. We'll sign you up. Just try and bring back as much as we can. Is this Brzgalov guy a former player? No, he's not. Okay. I don't know why I recognize that name. Is that a different Bengtson? Yeah, it is. Interesting. Brower isn't ours. Nope. And then we'll check out centers. Hopefully there's some good centers there. But it looks like we're not getting a whole lot in terms of former players. So a lot of them must assign places. And Silverberg seems familiar, but he's not ours. Standard. Any former centers, please. Just need to give myself a little bit more depth this season, or else we're not going to make the playoffs, but that's okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Hopefully we can at least get a good draft pick this year if we miss the playoffs. Because I don't want to be like a tweener team, to be honest. Yep, that seems like it's it. That is quite surprising. Let's continue to sim up until the start of the preseason, and then we'll edit our lines and set those up. And then we will probably also take a look and see where, what's his name, signed. The main right-wing guy. Why can't I remember his name? Kapitanov. So Soderstrom is back, which is great to have him back in Houston. Because he was one of our best goalies in the beginning, and he got us to a cup final. So let's make some roster moves quickly and send down some guys that don't need to be. So we're going to send down Sweat down to the AHL. We're going to call up Soderstrom. Damn, goalie's up to a 71. Okay, that's all actually really great to see. I like that. So we'll do that first, that little change. Defensively, should I be sending anybody down in the NHL? Spiller and Griffin should get sent down. I'm going to also send down Goddard. And then we're going to go down to in the system. We're going to call up Shoots, I think. Yeah, we're going to call up Shoots just in case. Send down anybody else? No, that's fine. I think I might run Umberger instead of Shoots, though, to be honest. And then forward-wise, do we have anybody that we should call up? Sidor, Lucic, Bengtson for now. Who do I got to send down? Lalonde, Teal, Cairns, and then the rest of that should be fine. Okay, let's see what we got here for our lineup, which is probably going to be pretty trash in the bottom six, but it is what it is. Okay, so defensively, let me take out... Actually, Shoots is playing already. Huh, interesting. Okay, never mind. So, our defensive core definitely took a little bit of a hit, but it still looks okay with the loss of Yip. But Umberger and Shoots are going to jump into the top six pairing, which I think is okay. Who is more offensively minded? It's going to be probably neither, really. They're both defensive defensemen, so that's okay. Goalie-wise, we got Benson and Soderstrom, so it's good to see our young goalie. Technically, he's 26, but still, and Soderstrom, our former legend. And then forward-wise, with the loss of Kapitanov, it's definitely a bit weaker, but still not terrible by any means. So we got Scuderi with Jaskalainen and Thornton. So Scuderi should produce decently since he produced really good on the second line last year. And at second line, we got Jacobs, Burns, Forster. Third line, Antoine Duclair coming up, which is interesting because he's a low top six with Batan and Bengtson. And then Sidor, Pasquale, and Lucic. So it's definitely not our best forward core we've ever had, but I mean, it's not the worst we've had either, considering this is a draft of glory. So there is that. And in AHL-wise, let's just go best lines for a second, see who's scratched. There is a lot of scratched players, so I might have to go through this on my own afterwards, but there is our AHL team as of right now. Interesting. So there is that, and final thing, let's take a just quick look at where Kapitanov and where Yip signed, and then that'll be it for this episode, because it's already probably a long episode at this rate. Could be wrong. But let's see where Yip signed first. Yip signed with Philadelphia, the team that just won the Stanley Cup, on a one-year deal at 4.8, so we could have probably brought him back, but I think it's good that we're reserving our cap space a little bit, just because I want this team not to be like right down to the wire in terms of cap space. But yeah, we could have probably brought Yip back, but I don't think it was the end of the world to lose him. And then our other guy, Kapitanov, sucks to lose him because, like I said, he's a high overall, but he's not worth $13 million, especially on a 7-year deal. Winnipeg was interested. Is that where he went? Yes, it is. So he's now signed with Sam Sidhu. He signed with the team that eliminated us just last season on a 7-year deal at 14.16. So him and Sidhu are getting paid over in Winnipeg. So that's very interesting. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll simulate the season, see how it finishes, and we'll see if our team can make the playoffs. If that's not doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Maybe we'll just get ourselves some good draft picks in. But yeah, our team is still kind of falling apart a little bit, it seems like. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.